Hello, I'm Tom Bailey, and in today's episode, I'll be getting to know Anthony Taylor, who's the managing partner at SME Strategy, the author of two books, and also the host of the Strategy and Leadership podcast. So, Anthony, hello, and a very warm welcome to today's episode.
Thanks so much, Tom. Happy to be here.
Awesome, really appreciate that. And out of interest for our listeners, whereabouts are you based?
Home is Vancouver, Canada,
Mhm.
on the west coast of Canada.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I just want to share a little bit more about you before we do get started. So, Anthony has facilitated hundreds of strategy sessions for organizations big and small across North America and beyond. He speaks fluent French, loves soccer, and one of his life goals is to visit every Major League Baseball stadium. The title for today's episode is How to Align Your Team Towards One Destination. And Anthony is going to show us how to do that in just 7 minutes. So, question one today is, who are your ideal clients?
So our ideal client is the CEO of a small or medium-sized business, usually around 100 to 200 people, and they're really taking that next step in growing their organization and getting to where they want to go.
Fantastic, very clear. And what would you say is the biggest challenge that they typically face?
Yeah, well, as a CEO, the biggest challenge is as they develop their team and as they move forward, the CEO has skills and expertise that they've developed over years and years, and
Mhm.
often the senior leadership team doesn't have those skills. So really being able to help not only get that one destination for the leadership team and the organization as a whole, but also developing the capacities to implement that strategy over time are the two biggest things that we really help teams with.
Great. And I guess those clients that you work with that don't have that in place, what is the impact that that might have on their business?
Well, I mean, if you don't know where you're going, you can never get there. So that's the
Yeah.
first part. So really helping them get clear on that. And then the impact is actually hit their goals. They hit their goals, they move forward, work is more enjoyable. They don't have to have a revolving door of people leaving.
Mhm.
And ultimately it helps them, help more people, which is really what we're all in business for.
Brilliant. I love that. And I love the thought of this one destination, the North Star that we're all heading towards. That's so important in business. Okay. So, anybody that wants to improve this in their business, what is the one piece of valuable advice that you might give somebody to help them really get started?
Well, talk about public speaking and having
Mhm.
conversations. It's really about having the conversation with your team. And if it's not explicit, that it's implied. And when you have if it's implied, then you have a lot of differences and differences of understanding. And I often joke that my wife's version of the kitchen being clean is different than my own. So we had to
Yeah.
come to an alignment as to what that
Mhm.
is. So if you're leading a team and you haven't had the conversation with them yet about where you're going, that is really the biggest thing that you need to do right
Awesome. I think I might need to have that conversation with my wife as well at some point.
now.
Great. So next question from me then is, what is one valuable resource or somewhere that you can point people to really help them get started fixing this problem?
Yep, absolutely. So what we've included is our one destination scorecard, and it's a really easy tool that you can use with your team that each individual person assesses your one destination on a score of 1 to 10, and then that way you can say, hey, if you think where you're going is very clear, but someone else on your team doesn't think it's very clear, it's a great opportunity to get aligned around that. And why we designed it is, everybody has a subjective way of looking at things, but we find that numbers don't lie. And even if you have the numbers and they might be similar, it still gives you the sort of opening the door to having the conversation about, hey, are we aligned? Do we really mean the same thing, even if we have the same number?
Great, brilliant. I've got the URL for that as well here, which I'll drop into the show notes. And that is www.semestrategy.net/one hyphen destination hyphen scorecard hyphen conversation. But yeah, I'll put that into the show notes. People can just click on that and dive right in.
Awesome.
So, question directed at yourself then, Anthony. What would you say is one of your greatest either mistakes or failures that you've made either in life or in business, and what did you learn from it?
Well, we only have a short amount of time, so I can't talk about all of them. I literally
Yeah.
wrote a book on all the mistakes I've made. But the one mistake I really made was I was investing in a business with a business partner some years ago, and he ended up stealing money from my company. And the mistake wasn't trust, and the mistake wasn't, sort of legal things. I think the mistake was trying to fast forward the process. I
Yeah.
wasn't skilled enough, equipped enough to be able to sort of take that next level. And everything sort of fell by the wayside. So I tried to grow too fast, and it sort of blew up in my face royally.
Mhm.
So that would be the biggest mistake, but I'm sure I've got many.
Absolutely, and a great lesson to learn for lots of people listening here, to take their time when we're looking at these, legal sides of launching a business. Okay, so the final question from me today then is, what is the one question that I should have asked that will also bring some great value to our audience today?
Well, I think the number one question you didn't ask is, what is the opposite of one destination?
Yeah.
And we call that the multiple destination trap. And it's going back to what is the biggest thing that we help people with. It's really getting them out of that multiple destination trap. It's where everybody's got a different idea of success, or you're so busy working on things that you're not working on the right things, or you've got 10 different priorities and everybody has a different idea of what those are. So really being able to recognize for yourself, if you're in the multiple destination trap, because it's a blind spot. You don't know you're in it until you can actually tell you're in it. But it's critical to know if you're stuck or not.
Absolutely, so important. And that word alignment used earlier is again critical in this space. So, Anthony, thank you again so much for your time today, for coming along and for sharing such great value with our audience.
That's my sincere pleasure, Tom. Thanks for having me.